Welcome to the Colonel Cast, the official podcast of the Curry College Athletics Department, a proud partner of your
Curry College Colonels.
Good morning, or good evening, or good afternoon. Whatever time of day it is you're listening to us, I hope the day is treating you well. My name is Paul Bleau, and this is the pilot episode of the Colonel Cast, Curry College Athletics' new podcast. We'll be covering a whole lot of topics, but to start off, I want to introduce our three hosts. As I said, my name is Paul Bleau. I am the Sports Information Assistant here at Curry. Next up, he is the Assistant Athletic Director for Communications and my office mate. He is affectionately known around campus for introducing
Your Curry College Colonels.
He is Chris McKeon. Chris, well done as always.
Thank you.
And our third and final host is the former music director and current program director at Curry College's award-winning radio station, 91.5 WMLN. He's also the primary public address announcer for Curry's home athletic events, and he's a proud member of the Curry College class of 2021. He is Brandon Clay.
Ooh, what's up, guys? How we doing?
Welcome, everyone, to the Colonel Cast. We have a lot of great topics to discuss in the coming weeks and a lot of fun segments we're excited to share with the world. But first, let's discuss how we got here and how this podcast came about. Chris?
Yeah, so I just want to talk a little bit about how we got here, as Paul mentioned. As the Assistant Athletic Director for Communications, my goal is to come up with new ideas and exciting things to promote our student athletes. And I think with the suspension of fall sports, we turned our efforts to coming up with new projects. And this was kind of a main thing that we wanted to do, to connect with people across the Curry College community, student athletes, coaches, staff members, alumni, and beyond, and to share what makes Curry special, especially in this time of uncertainty. We're going to provide, like Paul said, a variety of topics, special guests, and a lot more. So please stay tuned as we tease and release each episode.
Yeah, Chris, as you mentioned, this came about largely because of the suspension of fall sports around our conference, the Commonwealth Coast Conference, and that was obviously due to the coronavirus pandemic that's going on. So as our students come back here at Curry, we really want to make sure that everybody stays safe. This is one way we're doing this. Rather than gathering in person, we can do it over the internet, online. People can listen on their phones, whatnot. And one thing we really want to push is that we're trying to keep Curry safe. It's our students, our staff, faculty, everyone around. So hashtag keep Curry safe, make smart decisions, keep following guidelines, keep wearing your mask. As we've mentioned a couple times now, fall sports got canceled. So Clay, you want to dive into that, how that happened?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to kind of timeline it here a little bit. In early March, the CCC decided to suspend any spring sports. It was a very unfortunate event that happened. We were all kind of knew where we were when this news broke. It was unfortunate. It was during spring break for us, at least during the spring semester here at Curry. And it was just a weird feeling, guys.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah, as you said, it happened over spring break, so none of the three of us were actually in the state of Massachusetts when that happened.
we were all in Florida.
Y'all were in Florida. I was in South Carolina. I remember sitting in my hotel room. I had ESPN on, or some sports channel, and I watched the NBA get postponed. Game got canceled. Which game was that?
That was oh my goodness, there was the Thunder and Jazz game.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it was, yeah.
Yep.
That's when it was all real, I feel.
Exactly,
like, you know?
yeah. The fans leaving the stadium, the game getting postponed, eventually canceled, and then that wound up leading to the whole bubble situation. But yeah, so that's how the spring sports got canceled, and then throughout the summer coming back.
So following the suspension of the spring athletics from the spring of 2020, the CCC posted on their website on July 17th of 2020 that despite the strong desire to provide our talented athletes the opportunity to play competitively in the sports at which they excel, the CCC Board of Directors has made the extremely difficult decision to suspend CCC intercollegiate athletic competitions for the fall 2020 semester. We found out this news in the summer, and it was just heartbreaking for all of the athletes and students alike. sports here is a very important part of our collegiate careers, whether you're a student or whether you're a student athlete, whether you're a faculty member, or if you are a part of the athletic department. So it affected us greatly, and it's just an unfortunate series of events because, school is not the same when there's no fall sports or when there's no sports in general.
Yeah. As you said, it was really disappointing when that decision came down. I think all of us read it and just...
It was kind of expected, though.
Yeah, it was sort of expected, but it's still, once that moment hits, your heart drops, and you got to feel for the athletes. The senior athletes who play spring sports already had their season stolen. So to have that come around and affect the fall athletes as well, you really got to feel for them. So that's how we got to this point. That was the CCC's decision to make. Chris and I have both spoken to the commissioner of the conference since then, and he was telling us how difficult of a decision it was, but how necessary it was to. It was just out of an abundance of caution, and it's not to hurt anyone, it's not to disappoint anyone, it's to keep everybody safe.
Yeah, that was the number one factor in making the decision, just to keep all of the member institutions and their campuses safe.
All right, so as I've said a couple times, that was the decision of the CCC. And while we're on the topic of the conference, let's check out what's happening around the Commonwealth.
Here's what's happening around the Commonwealth.
All right, so this is a segment we're going to be jumping into here, and we'll be getting back into this in future episodes as well. Although this podcast is devoted to Curry athletics, we do want to give shout outs here and there to the other members of our conference. We compete with each other on the field, on the court, on the ice, whatever it may be. But at the end of the day, we all have the same goal. We're all a part of the same conference, and it really is one big family. So first up, the first story, we've got the University of New England, their men's ice hockey goalie, Ben Churchfield. He would be going into his senior season. Instead, he's decided to forego the season at UNE and play instead for the Sheffield Steelers. It's a pro team that plays in the EIHL. It's the Elite Ice Hockey League, and that's in the UK where Ben Churchfield is from. Clay, you want to take our next story here?
Sweet. At number 2, this is in Salve Regina down in Newport, Rhode Island. They hired David Lunn to be their new women's ice hockey coach. Lunn will be the 5th head coach in the program's history.
Number 3 on our list comes from Gordon College up in Wenham, Mass. On August 13th, they updated their athletics logo and their athletics branding. The move aims to refresh the logo, which was the first step in a series of major updates coming to their athletic facilities.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's actually pretty interesting.
And it is gorgeous. I love the new logo. It looks great. Number 4 at Endicott, their associate athletic director, Sean Quirk, he won the Major League Lacrosse Coach of the Year award after leading the Boston Cannons to the league's championship. So it's a local victory in a pro sports league. They play right in Quincy at Veteran Stadium. So a big award just for leading the team to the championship, and an even greater honor to win the Coach of the Year award.
To round out our CCC segment, we'd like to highlight Suffolk University. Suffolk's women's ice hockey program is a nominee for the NCAA Division III SAC August Special Olympics Spotlight.
That's a mouthful.
Feel free to go to support our conference mates by voting for them through the link on their Instagram at @GoSuffolkRams.
So if you've seen us around campus, you know that we are at every home athletic event for the Curry Colonels. But through these unprecedented times, you really haven't seen us much on campus throughout the spring, summer, and even through the fall. So Paul, do you want to talk about what you did over the past couple of months?
Yeah, so because of the pandemic that's going on, I spent a lot of time at home with my lovely wife. I am a big disc golfer, so I played a lot of rounds of disc golf. It's a nice sport that you can play on your own or with other people, but with everything going on, just play it safe. I played most rounds by myself. I actually just recently came back from a vacation with my family. We went to Cape Cod.
Oh.
Yeah, we went down to Dennisport.
That's absolute best place in the Cape. Yeah.
So we spent a week there right after my sister-in-law got married. So pretty eventful summer for my family. But it was a good time. I'm glad to be back. I spent a couple months away from Curry just due to the nature of my position. had a lot of fun, had great weather this summer, but happy to be back.
All right, what about you, Chris? Tell me about your summer. What else don't we know about you that like the average student or student athlete might not know about you too?
I mean, unlike Paul, I worked 12 months here, so I'm here during the summer. So we were allowed here back in, I think, June for a couple of days a week.
Yeah, so you've been here.
I've been here, so it's finally nice to have kids back on campus. But prior to that, like Paul, I was just spending a lot of time with family, and my aunt lives on the lake in Rentham, so spent a lot of time there fishing and going out on our boat. Also took this time to kind of get back into the like exercising and that kind of stuff. But other than that, just hanging out and spending a lot of time with family and friends. That's about it.
What about you, Guy?
Me?
What did you do over the summer?
Well, let me tell you, I did a heck of a lot. Well, not really. I mean, I'm going to talk about it kind of from a student perspective, at least from a Curry student's perspective. So we were sent home in early March. We had a very long extended spring break. I might say. Yeah. You know, so we went home. I came back from Florida, and that was in early March, and I've been home ever since. You know, the past couple of weeks when we moved in a couple of weeks ago. So I've been just kind of filling my time, just kind of trying to do as much as I can at home. You know, spending a lot of time with my family and my friends because obviously that's important for everyone. I think everyone has loves being at home, but at the same time, like enjoyed trying to go out as much as you possibly could.
Yeah.
And that goes for everyone. But I did a lot of fishing. That was definitely a hobby that I picked up.
I forgot to say that. I did a lot of fishing.
Did you really?
Yeah. We all did. It seems to be a
fan favorite.
Yeah,
it's definitely a fan favorite.
You fished?
Oh yeah,
He did. He got a big one. I big one too. I fish. He got a big one.
Oh.
So obviously you can tell that we've all picked up some new hobbies in the past couple of months. You couldn't go out to eat, to restaurants or anything until like July.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a lot of just kind of going outside, going hiking, just enjoying life essentially, and just kind of doing things that you really normally wouldn't do in the summer.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Yeah. Nice. So hopefully that gives you a little more of a look into us and our personal lives outside of the office. Even though we don't have sports in the fall, we are very optimistic that we will have sports and games in some capacity in the winter and then also in the spring. We might have more than usual in the spring. But with that being said, and in preparation for that, I do believe we have some open positions in athletics and specifically our office. Chris, if you want to talk about that.
Yeah, as Paul mentioned, we've got a bunch of work-study opportunities available in the sports information office. We're currently looking for regular game workers, PA announcers, play-by-play people, and much more. So if you're a current Curry student and qualify for work study and love sports, please visit Curry Connect to check out all the opportunities that we offer. Yeah.
If you enjoy working with sports, if you're a big Colonel fan, maybe if you just like the podcast and you want to work with us, shoot us a message. Like Chris said, we have a lot of opportunities available. A little sparse in the fall, but things will be opening up as we move along. And I think we're going to jump into a new segment.
Let's do it.
It's the first episode, so basically everything's a new segment.
Everything is brand new.
But this will be the first ever Welcome Home Colonels.
This is the Welcome Home Colonels.
All right, so what this segment is going to do, each episode we are going to give a shout out to a new colonel, so a member of the class of 2024. And today's episode, we are giving a shout out to a defender out of West Yarmouth, Massachusetts on the men's soccer team. We want to give a big shout out and a big welcome to Nick Norman.
What's up, Nick?
Welcome, Nick.
All the way from West Yarmouth, Cape Cod.
Yeah, I was just there. I was basically just in his backyard. So that's one new segment. We'll get into another segment now of what's happening in pro sports.
Here is your weekly update on professional sports.
So we don't have any sports going on here at Curry, not yet at least, but the 4 major pro sports are back. So we'll take a look at what's going on. I'm going to kick things off with the MLB. The MLB, they've introduced and approved a new playoff format this year. So there will be a lot more playoff teams this year. Really.
Playoffs.
And even then it looks like Mike Trout is still going to miss the playoffs. Sorry. However, there have been some early surprises. The Miami Marlins, even though they had some games postponed early on, they're back in action, have been for a while, and they're holding on to the number 2 spot in the National League East, which means if the season were to end today, they're in the playoffs. They don't have to worry about getting a wild card spot. They're in. We are just about at the halfway point in the season. The Red Sox will play their 30th game tonight. I believe the Twins already have. So with this short, abbreviated season, it's anybody's game. And sticking in the National League, looking at the wild card race, there are 8 teams within 2 games of each other fighting for 2 wild card spots. That is going to be a photo finish.
What are those 2 teams?
2 teams? How about 8 teams?
Really?
Yeah. So you've got the Rockies with the first spot right now. The Giants and Mets are tied for the second spot. Technically, the Giants have the tiebreaker because of win percentage. But then all the other teams, the Brewers, Diamondbacks, Nationals, Phillies, and Reds are all in contention. Really, the only team that's out of it in the National League right now is the Pirates. And they're only 4 games out of the second wild card spot. So they've got a chance. And the American League, we haven't seen too many surprises yet. The Yankees and Rays are on top of the East. The A's have it in the West, and the Astros are number 2. But the Blue Jays are in a wild card spot right now, and the closest team fighting them for that spot is the O's. So we're probably going to have a wild card out of the American League East, and it's probably going to be a surprise. So that should be very interesting. And like I said, the Angels and Mike Trout, sorry, they're not going to make it.
You don't think so, huh?
Just a half game in front of them are the Red Sox, so they're not going to make it either.
Nice.
The Sox, I mean, maybe if Nathan Eovaldi were to pitch every game from here on out, the Red Sox are 4-2 in games that Eovaldi starts. They actually, there is a stat where they have a winning record.
Really?
But every other starter, they're 5-18 in those games, so we don't want to talk about those. So that's about enough in the MLB. Let's pass it off to the NFL.
Yeah, it's kind of brighter spots in the NFL for right now.
Still early.
Yeah.
Still very early.
For everyone.
For every team in the league.
I mean, we haven't even – they've started training camp. But up here in New England, first Patriots game is just under 3 weeks away when the Patriots welcome in the Miami Dolphins to Gillette on the 13th of September for a 1 o'clock game. All the Patriots fans are hyped about Cam Newton.
The one, the only.
It's going to be an interesting QB situation as we welcome in the one and only Cam Newton, as he'll look to get the nod under center, as Jarrett Stidham is currently nursing a hip injury.
Yeah,
and has him questionable for the start.
He's kind of fallen off the grid. That's one heck of a QB room, though. We've got Cam Newton, who's won an MVP and gone to a Super Bowl. Didn't go too well, but he's been to a Super Bowl.
He still won the MVP. That was 2015, and that was still,
it's a 15-1 season.
Yeah.
Nothing to stop
regardless.
You got Brian Hoyer, who's been kind of all around the league, but spent the majority of his time in New England. Mm-hmm. This is the second stint in New England, actually. And then you got the young guy. So we'll see. Hopefully Stidham gets healthy. Maybe, I don't know if he'll have any starts this year, but I'm sure he'll see game action. One heck of a QB room, though. Concerned about the defense.
Yeah, the defense is questionable. We lost a lot of pieces there. In terms of another acquisition that they made, they recently re-signed longtime vet Nick Folk, who went 14-17 on field goal attempts in 7 games last season. Look for him to be a mentor to the Patriots' 5th-round pick, Justin Rohrwasser. We'll have a lot of new faces, as we said, but as a Patriots fan, I don't think we expect anything else than a 12-win season.
Yeah, we'll see. I hope so.
I think so.
I am more impressed with that pronunciation of Rohrwasser.
Yeah, right. I don't know what that word is.
All right.
Thanks to YouTube.
There you go. There it is. I think that's enough NFL talk, especially because we haven't seen game action yet. So we're going to move on to the NBA.
All right, so I'm covering the NBA. NBA bubble is in full playoff mode. Mm-hmm. And let me tell you, the playoffs have been nothing but super exciting and just crazy. Absolutely. The Celtics recently swept the Philadelphia 76ers 4-0 with a final score of 110-106, leaving the Philadelphia 76ers to later fire head coach Brett Brown.
Mm-hmm.
Are we
The
surprised
day
about
after.
that? Was it a day after?
Yeah.
Yeah, after 7 seasons with the team.
Yeah,
Wow, that's
not
crazy.
surprised.
Was that if he won maybe 1 or 2 more games, would that have still happened?
I don't think so.
Really? So that was the deciding game.
Yeah, they've been busy trusting the process, and the process has been busy letting them down. So
Absolutely. So the Celtics will move on to the second round of the NBA playoffs. Moving on to the Western Conference, the Clippers lost in Game 4 against the Dallas Mavericks, and let me tell you, wow,
making things interesting.
Luka
Magic. Oh my goodness, it was just an insane game. Now here's my question now. While we're here, he hits a game-winning 3-point step-back three to win the game to tie the series 2 games apiece against the 2 seed, I believe.
Yeah.
The LA Clippers. The LA Clippers, mind you.
You're leaving out the best part.
What's that?
That the game before he left with a severe ankle injury, and then he came back to have 47, 17, and 13 or something like that.
Was
That's
40,
just
was 43 or something? It's
something
still
ridiculous. It may speak for itself.
Yeah. So that series is tied 2 games apiece. Game 5 will be played on Tuesday, which is August 25th.
Yeah. By the time this podcast releases, you all are going to know how that game went, but we don't know how that game's going to go.
Do we have any early picks as to who's going to win that series? I think that's the most exciting series.
Yeah, the Clippers are going to pull it out, I think.
No.
I think they're going to take the next 2.
With the way that Paul George is playing right now, you just don't see how.
He's just been disappeared from the court. He just hasn't been playing.
Shooting wise, it's not looking good for them. And unless Kawhi is going to carry them, and
he's done it before.
Yeah, he carried Toronto last year.
Yeah. Last night on August 24th, the Lakers took Game 4, leading the Portland Trail Blazers 3-1, beating them with a score of 135-115.
Beating them handily.
Literally. So yesterday, August 24th, which is 8/24, was the official Kobe Day, and the league commemorated Kobe all day long on socials and during the games in Orlando. And the Lakers put on these cool jerseys. They were commemorating Kobe in an amazing way, and it was just a cool moment. And I definitely believe that Kobe was there in a sense, and it was just an amazing game to watch.
Yeah, that was a game I was looking forward to. I thought that Portland was going to do to the Lakers what the Mavs wound up doing to the Clippers and tying the series, but I turned it on at one point. It was about 96-69 and shut it right off.
Well, nothing to watch here.
Game's over.
But it was just cool. I mean, so will Damian Lillard come back from this 3-1 series, yes or no?
I think they're going to salvage a game.
Yeah, they might get a game.
They're going to pull out Game 5. I don't think it goes more than 6, though.
I think with that, the finger injury was unlucky, too.
Yeah.
But we'll see what happens.
I'm excited. I think that is those 2 series that we just spoke about. I think those are the 2 most exciting series. Heat swept the Pacers 4-0, moving on to the next round in the East, and the Thunder tied the series against the Rockets last night, tying the series 2 games apiece.
Yeah, so as you said, the Heat moved on, Raptors moved on, Celtics moved on. The Heat don't have an opponent yet. It's probably going to be the Bucks, but that hasn't yet been determined. However, the Celtics will be playing the Raptors in the second round. Game 1 of that series is Thursday, the 27th, so we'll see how that series starts off. Another notable piece in the Western Conference is one team that was not in any of those series we mentioned, the San Antonio Spurs. The Spurs breaking their streak of 22 consecutive playoff appearances, almost as many years as I've been alive. They tied the NBA record with the Syracuse Nationals, who became the 76ers. The Spurs, I'm sure they would have loved to break that streak this year. Popovich probably doesn't care one bit.
No,
but yeah, I think that's enough NBA talk. I'm going to bring us into the NHL, and if y'all thought the NBA was exciting, check out the NHL action. There were a couple of upsets already. The Canadiens knocked out the Penguins in the qualifying round. Technically, that's not the first round, but that's a 12 seed taking out the 5, and it happened in the West too. The Blackhawks took out the Oilers in 4 games. The hometown Oilers, I guess, they didn't have the support of their fans there, but they were technically playing on home ice. Back in the Eastern Conference, Toronto lost on home ice as well to the Blue Jackets in that qualifying round. But where we are now, we're in the second round. All 4 series have started. The number 6 Islanders shut out the number 1 Flyers in Game 1.
That's
4-0.
crazy.
It was
Unbelievable.
pretty dominating. The Bruins beat the Lightning in Game 1. This is a really interesting series because the Bruins are coming in as the quote-unquote 4 seed, even though they won the President's Cup to finish the regular season, and the Lightning were the number 2 seed. They're still the number 2 seed, so they kind of flip-flopped who has home ice advantage. But again, without fans there, I really don't think that's making that big of an impact. The Bruins took game 1, as I said. They had a 3-0 lead in the third period. They gave up a couple goals late, but they held on to win. I don't really think that was ever in doubt, but game 2 is tonight, which is Tuesday, the 25th. By the time I release, again, that game will be over, and you guys will know more than we do here. The Stars have a 2-0 lead over the Avalanche. Their game 3 will be tomorrow, the 26th. The Golden Knights blew out the Canucks in game 1, 5-0. I wouldn't be surprised to see a sweep in that series. The Canucks took out a very strong Blues team to get to the Golden Knights, but I really can't see the Canucks doing much in that series. All right, so we're going to start wrapping up our first episode here, but we do want to give you guys a little bit of a preview into the topics we're going to be discussing. The reason we're here is because of the coronavirus pandemic. So in future episodes, we're really going to be doing a deep dive into how the pandemic and how the virus has affected our students, specifically our student athletes, their way of life, how they now have to live, whether they're living on campus, off campus, whatever it may be, how they're able to socialize, really, if they're able to at all, and how classes are going for them in the early weeks here of this first semester.
Another topic we're going to discuss, which is pretty heavy now in the time that we're living in with COVID and everything else, is student-athlete mental health, and especially the resources that we offer at Curry. We've got our counseling center, we've got our health center, we've got a number of different places around campus that can help our students and student-athletes. So stay tuned for that. I think that's going to be a very pertinent topic with our student-athletes and currently with our world we're living in.
Absolutely. Yeah, everybody in the department, and specifically us here at the podcast, want to be supportive. We want to be here for all of our students, not just our student athletes, all of our students, because it's such a deep problem and something that you can't ignore. You shouldn't ignore. And it needs to be talked about. It needs to be destigmatized. And we want you all to know that we are here to help, and we'll give you, once we get into that episode, some specific resources right here on campus who will support you and help you and guide you through that process should you need assistance. One more idea we have on the docket, we're going to be highlighting some past big moments in Curry athletics history. We have a lot of great seasons in our past, a lot of great games, historical record-breaking moments, so we're going to dive into that. We've got a couple different ideas that we've been tossing around, so we'll see how that all comes together, but you can expect to see, or hear, I guess, at least one episode devoted to big moments, big special moments in Curry athletics history.
Keep an eye out for our, we're going to have some guests on across the Curry community, from athletics to beyond.
Absolutely.
So please keep an eye out.
Keep listening.
You may see a familiar face here and there, but we want to bring as many people onto this as possible to foster this connection with athletics and across campus.
And of course, be sure to check out the official Curry Colonels social media pages. You can check them out at Curry Colonels on Twitter and Instagram. And we have a YouTube account. So definitely check out Curry Athletics on YouTube. This is a brand new podcast, and we are all super excited to get this out on every platform possible. But the reason why it's out here is for you, the listener. So we want to hear from you guys. We want to interact with you guys. We want to hear what you guys want on this podcast, because we are open to a lot of ideas. We have a lot of ideas ourselves, but this is mainly for you, the listener. So definitely interact with us, connect with us on the socials, and tell us what you want to hear, because your opinion is the most important out of anyone's.
Definitely. Tell us what we're doing well. Tell us what we can do better. As Clay said, this is for you guys. So whatever you guys want, let us know, connect with us. We want to communicate and interact and make this as great as it can be.
Yeah, absolutely.
So before we say goodbye here, I want to give a quick shout out of well wishes to everyone dealing with this as we continue to get used to the new normal. I want to send out support to everyone who's struggling with this virus, and especially to one of our students that we've worked with here in the athletic department. We won't be naming the student as to respect their privacy, but I can say from all three of us that we hope this person has a speedy recovery, returns to full health as soon as possible, and we really look forward to working with you again in the near future.
So we will be officially releasing an episode every Friday for this semester. So be sure to check out episode 2 releasing next Friday. You can get your episodes on any platform where you get your podcast. That will be Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and just literally wherever you get your podcast. So we're on all platforms.
And that's it. That's all we've got for you for episode 1. Great job, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm excited for episode 2.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Yeah, should be a good time. We hope you enjoyed this episode. We really hope you'll tune in to episode 2. Thanks for making it through with us, and we'll see you next time.
We'll see you.
See ya.